All right, we're starting recording. Bam! Here we are, guys. Hey guys, how are y'all? Welcome back. I just want to get right into it. I don't know if you guys were able to catch it today, but on June the 2nd, today, Thursday, Sony released a state of play. I forgot what time it was. It was earlier during the day, and I missed it because, of course, me being at work. But of course, I came home. I saw it on YouTube. I watched it with the wifey. Then I took a shower, did my exercises, and then I watched it again and took some notes. And I just want to share with you guys my thoughts and my first impressions on what I saw and what I think. Of course, guys, it's just gonna be like first impressions. Like, a lot of it was trailers, so we don't know. We've got some release dates for sometimes, and some games are coming out already. Some games are. I don't think anyone will shadow drop, but some games are coming out soon within the month. Some games are coming out sometime next year. So a lot of stuff. So guys, on these little episodes, I try not to make them scripted. I always try to just keep it like bullet points. That way, because I don't want I try not to just read stuff. That's just, to me, it just sounds boring. If I should start reading, you guys like, okay, yeah, I could do that anywhere. You guys can see that anywhere. So I just try to make some bullet points here and there. That way, where the freak is it? Where does it start? Okay, yeah, okay. So let's get right into it, guys. I'm gonna try to keep it again at around the 45-minute mark, but y'all probably know me by now that I tend to like go over sometimes. So we'll see. I'm not gonna go into fine depth with all these games, so some I'm just gonna gloss over. The ones I will focus on are the ones that I'm personally interested in it, or I have like a strong impression either for or against it. So like I said, guys, like, y'all know I like video games. I really enjoy them. It's one of my hobbies, but that doesn't mean I like all of them. Some of them I just really do not care about. And again, look, if you enjoy those kind of games or don't enjoy them, that's totally fine. If you guys want to just leave me have a conversation about it, or leave some remarks or whatever, hey, I'm fine. We could have a civil discussion about it, okay? I have no problems. If you like something I don't like, and vice versa, hey, it is what it is, right? Free country. So, crunchy, country, crunchy. Yeah, I gotta work on that, guys. So right out the gate, guys, it started off with Resident Evil 4 remake. It started off with the date. It said 3/24/23. So Resident Evil 4 remake is coming out. I am not surprised that it's finally going to show up, because when they did the Resident Evil 2, that was back in 2019 when that came out. And then a year later, they did Resident Evil 3. So Resident Evil 2, from what I can recall, had really good. It was received well. People who play it like really enjoyed it. It was really good. I remember I played it. I didn't stick with it. I forgot what was going on. I don't know. I think I had a copy of the game and I let somebody borrow it, and I gotta check if I still have it or not. But I remember playing it. I was like, okay, this game. It went back to the horror part. I mean, the claustrophobicness of being in the RPD building and having Mr. X follow you, that was pretty creepy. And just fighting the enemies, like that system of breaking away, like you could like break your knife trying to escape, or like stuffing a flashbang in their mouth. Like, okay, that was super cool. I like that a lot. And I don't know if they implemented that on Resident Evil 3. That one I didn't. There's my little dog. That one I did not play at all. I know my buddy Ruben got it and he enjoyed it. But from what I recall and from what I heard about, again, I didn't play it, is from the community and people who have played it, was that they cut out some content from the game. And I don't remember exactly what it was, which is kind of a bummer. If you ask me, it's like, if you're going to like spend the time to make a remake of one of your games, like, I figured you go all in and just really go and just really, just I mean, why not, right? If you're going to charge a full price, I mean, and you have all the assets, I mean, I don't know what their decision was, and nor am I going to speculate on it, because I really just don't know. But it just feels like, man, if I was Capcom over there, I'd be like, yeah, let's give it the let's go the full 9 yards. I mean, just make this as great as Resident Evil 2, because I don't know how the OG Resident Evil Nemesis, aka Resident Evil 3, how I got received. I remember playing it when I was younger and I enjoyed it, and I did like Nemesis right at the bat. I just thought he was a menace. The way he looked, his style, with that freaking old school bazooka rocket launcher on his shoulder, and he was just wrapped up in that trench coat with staples all over his face, and I think he just looks super cool. And again, like, I also like Nemesis just from playing him on a Marvel versus Capcom Infinite. He's just one of my favorite characters. I like him a lot. So, yeah, with Resident Evil 4 coming out, and I think they said, let me see. I think they also said, wait, am I sure? I gotta look at my notes again. But I think it's gonna be on PS5 only, which at this point now, guys, like, I hate to break it to you, but the games now have to be for the current gen. That's what it is. I mean, you're either on PS5 or the Xbox Series X or One. I really feel like when developers have to focus for both consoles, especially by both consoles, I mean for the last gen consoles, it just feels like it's just starting to hamper it. And eventually, guys, it's gonna be that transition. Of course, when we go from one generation to the other on the console part, you can have developers making games for both, but eventually they're gonna have to just start shifting to the current gen. And now 2 years in with PS5 and Xbox Series S and X, X and S, I mean, it's just time. I mean, if you haven't gotten a PS5 by now, you probably ain't trying hard enough. And look, and I say that because I'm in a position where I do have access to a PS5. It's not mine, it belongs to the wifey, but she was able to get it. She stuck her nose to the grindstone and was able to follow all the track bots and get informations and updates and just get it, and finally just focusing on that and finally able to get it. And honestly, guys, when it comes to the PS5, I've played Demon Souls, Final Fantasy VII Remake. I played on PS4, but I'm playing it on PS5 also, the PS5 version. And what else did I play on there? I think that's it, guys. I honestly think that's it. Like, I mean, of course, my wifey, she's played some other stuff. I think she's played Forbidden West on there, and yeah. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I mean, if you're all about getting all of the PS5 exclusives, PS exclusives, I mean, for sure, that's the console to get. But right now, I mean, I have not found a game that says I have to get a PlayStation for this. I mean, that's just me personally. There's just nothing on there that says I gotta have it for this. I'm glad I have it, and have access to some stuff. But I mean, with this day and age, it's just a matter of time before all the developers just start shifting to PS5, and they're doing that. And we saw that with Resident Evil 4, and I'm excited for that one because I never played it. I've always heard so many things about it, and I'm not saying, guys, I'm like the biggest Resident Evil fan. I remember playing Resident Evil 1, 2, 3. I never played 4, 5, or 6, and actually didn't come back until like 7. And 7, I thoroughly enjoyed because it went back. It went to a different formula, that first person view, and it's very claustrophobic. You're in that dilapidated mansion. It's a mess. The characters are off the freaking wall. I mean, the story is crazy. I mean, it's right up the alley for what a Resident Evil game should be. And then I remember playing Resident Evil 8 last year, and I really enjoyed that one too. I still think 7 might be the better game of the two, 7 and 8. But I'm glad those games are there because they really, like, for me, they really revitalized my interest in that franchise, because it just felt like, again, I never played 4 and I heard a lot of good things, but from 4, it looked like, and you guys probably know this already, they started shifting from that survivor horror into a more action-like pacing. I mean, you could just tell just by looking at the way Leon handles, right, and the way he shoots just over the shoulder, and having just again, I didn't play it. I'm just going off of what I seen. It just looked more action like. And then I know 5 and 6, I think just really like emphasize on that kind of mode. And then going back to 7, it just felt like, okay, you're stuck in a mansion. You have these guys are sponges. A lot of enemies are sponges for bullets. You have to be very conservative and moderate with your usage of said ammo. And like I said, 7 I thoroughly enjoyed it. I tried playing it on VR, and I'll get more into that later on. But I remember trying to play VR, and I could do maybe 10, 15 minutes, and then the motion sickness just got to me. And of course, that was the VR on the PS4. So it's been a long while since I've tried any VR since then. So I don't know how much the technology has advanced or made it better, or even me personally. I don't know how much I've gotten better and more of a resistance to it, or be able to keep up with it more. Excuse me, guys, water. So Resident Evil 4 coming out, I think that's awesome. I think that's great. I can't wait to play it. I think that's gonna be an auto day one purchase for me, because I've heard so many good things about Resident that one that I can't wait. They also talked about the more VR games, and I don't know how you guys feel about VR itself, but like I mentioned earlier, I lose my shit. I get nauseated super quick. And then when that happens, I start getting like you ever guys get cold sweats and stuff like that, and just you get nauseated and just dizzy. And it's it's just not fun for me. And I know I heard some people say you could take some sort of I think it's called it's a Dramamine. I think it's like a motion sickness medication, but it's I don't want to take medication to play a VR game. That to me, that just does not make sense at all. So take it as you will, guys. But I know they said they're gonna have some The Walking Dead games, No Man's Sky, and Horizon Call of the Mountains for VR. So I mean, if you guys are into that, by all means, when it comes out, let me know. Or how do you guys handle that? That's That's another interesting question. How do you handle the motion sickness? Is that something you kind of have to build up? The more you do, the better you get at it. Get better at it. Because I don't know, guys. It's just or unless this new PlayStation VR 2 technology is a lot more better, it has made some leap and bounds compared to the first one, that it makes it, that you could play it longer. I remember hearing something. I think I was listening to some game developers or some sort of technology developer guys saying when you look, you see your nose every time you in real life, you always see your nose, and that kind of gives you a fixed point that helps you stable everything. So when you put something over your eyes, like a goggles for VR, and you don't see that, it's kind of it sends these mixed signals to your brain saying, hey, this is not right. This is not where you're supposed to be. This isn't we're not being grounded in reality. So that's interesting. Again, VR, but if you guys are for it, awesome. If not, just tell me about it. I mean, we'll be in the same camp. I mean, my wife said she's interested in it, and I know the other VR stuff, she kind of had it for a while, but it had a lot of wires you had to hook up. And I know there's a new one they're working on that, where you just have to have 1 or 2 wires from the console to the VR headset, and then you're good to go. But I don't know, guys. For me, it's a hard pass. Nah, I'm good. I'm Gucci. Even VR games, there's nothing on there that says I have to get an Oculus or a headset or any VR set just to play. What's that one from Half-Life Alyx? I mean, I heard good things about that, but no, I'm good. I don't want to freaking walk around in my studio and knock shit over or get nauseous or none of that. I don't know. I'd rather just be old school and just sit down and play, with a controller in my hand and watch the screen and just have fun that way. What else did they talk about, guys? Oh, they talked about Horizon Forbidden West is getting some updates. You can have New Game Plus. You can do some transmogging. You can reset your talents. They're gonna have an ultra hard difficulty, some new new weapons and trophies, and it's available now for free. So when I saw this, guys, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not the biggest fan of Horizon Forbidden West, and I'm not like anti Horizon Forbidden West, but I just really don't care much for that genre. So like the cynical part of me, which is which is more than I like to admit. When I saw these features, I'm like, why wasn't this in the game already? You know, I mean, how was that like an oversight or something? Like no one said, hey, we should put New Game Plus because we want them to play again, like, or resetting your honestly like resetting your talents, like that's not in the game. Is it in the game? I don't know. I never played it. I can't even. I barely got outside like the first area in the first game because Aloy was just annoyed the crap out of me. Sorry, guys. It's just she starts talking to herself. I should go here. What about this? Let me interact with that. And it's just like, oh my god! Like I really just got just overwhelmed and like, I think I was talking to my buddy Johnny about it. It's like, dude, I just get fatigued about picking up everything because I see it and my OCD says you gotta get it, Rick. You gotta get it. Pick up all these sticks. Pick up all these berries. I'm just like, after a while, I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm done. And then, I'm sure you guys probably heard me say this before, but you do a quest, right? You're approaching a new town, like, oh, hey, Aloy, we need you to do something. We need you to run errands. We need you to. Only you could collect the wolf pelts. Only you could save my brother from being a dumbass and going and pulling him out of the cave. Only you could. I'm like, you know what? Okay, I'm done. Yeah, I just couldn't get into that game. And then when I saw these new updates, I'm like, I'm glad they're putting on there for the fans. I'm obviously not it because instead of going in there talking like, oh yeah, it's great, I just don't care for that genre and much less that game. I mean, you guys might have hear me say that before, but it feels like I feel like a lot of these open world games are just the same thing with different schematics or different skins or different colors. You know, especially like Ghost of Tsushima, Horizon Forbidden, The Witcher. A lot of these open world games, it just feels like, and I haven't played any of the latest Assassin's Creeds, which is what Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla. But it just feels like you have this open world with markers all over the map every time you go somewhere, collectibles, dialogue wheels, some light talent trees, some a little bit RPG aspects to it. They just all feel the same. After a while, I'm just like, I'm okay. I'm done. I already played this game. It's just in a different time setting or different area or different piece or something like that. So, I mean, and then some of you might say, well, bro, Rick, you like Elden Ring. And look, Elden Ring is something else. And that's for a different discussion, guys. We'll say that for a different podcast because that one's going to be a doozy. So yeah, all these features they added to Horizon Forbidden West, I think that's, I mean, if you're a fan, great. But me, like, okay, whatever. I don't play the game. Spider-Man or Marvel Spider-Man Remastered coming to PC in August. So that one, I kind of fell under the same trappings of the other open world games that I was telling you about, guys. I remember playing it and really enjoying it. What made me want to get it was, I don't know if you guys ever played back in the 360 era, Batman Arkham City, which was like my first like gateway into like all the Batman games and getting into the comic books because, when Arkham City was released, that was when DC was doing their on their comics division. They were doing the New 52, and I don't know if you guys remember, but that was when they were grabbing 52 titles and they were doing like a soft reset where they know that you are aware of all these origin stories, so they're just starting new with a whole bunch of new stories and just picking up from there and taking it. And I was able to get into one of the Batman books. I think it was just Batman, but the thing is they decided to release 4 different Batman books. It was like Batman and Robin, Batman the Dark Knight, and Batman detective or something like that. But there was 4 books. I'm like, there's no way I'm getting 4 books every month. Like, I am not that much of a comic book fan, and I'm only in it because from when I was playing Arkham City, and I saw all these characters like Victor Zsasz and freaking Scarecrow, Hush, Solomon Grundy. I was just like, man, who are all these characters? I want to know more. So I mean, that was my gateway into wanting to trying it out. But I was like, I am not gonna get all these books. And fortunately, the Batman book that I decided to stay with eventually had the Court of Owls, which turned out to be a really really good like I thought that story was so good because it gave you some history of Gotham along the way, and the families that ran it, and the secret society. My only problem was near the very end, they kind of did like a little retconning, and I was like, yeah, what? So I mean, I'm not gonna spoil it for you guys, but I mean, I did enjoy Court of Owls. So if they do more with that, no problem. I'm all down. But going back to Spider-Man, so I'm not going to just go on tangents here. But I remember when Spider-Man came out, I was like, oh yeah, I remember Arkham City. If it's gonna be something like that, yeah, I'm down. And I remember seeing trailers, and before it was Spider-Man was released, of just web slinging through Manhattan, and I was like, okay, that looks super good. Because in Batman Arkham City, just freaking doing your nosedives with the glider and going in and driving and grapple hooking and traveling, that was fun too. But seeing it in Spider-Man, I was like, oh, that just really, you really got a sense of the speed and the height and the magnitude of just being sky high and just slinging through the buildings. So that was fun. But I started playing it, and I hear people I mean, and I don't know why I let this get to me, but I remember seeing a lot of people like within like just several weeks after the release, like people talking, oh yeah, I platinumed everything, I collected everything. So I was like, well, I want to platinum it too. I want to collect everything. So I made sure to collect everything along the way. But then after a while, I was just like, I am so tired of collecting Peter's backpacks or finding Osborn's little secret labs, or having to find random pigeons, or having to find just all like, after a while, I just got so burned out of, I mean, even though you were traversing, all through Manhattan, which was fun, but after a while, I was just like, oh my God, okay, I get it. A lot of collecting. And then I got to like Act 2, and then I just couldn't get back into it anymore. I did like the fact that you could change the costumes. That was super cool. You had the different styles of Spider-Man outfits, from all across the Spider-Verse. And some of the abilities were really awesome. The combat was good too. But after a while, I was just like, I burned myself out, and I was just, excuse me, guys, more water. But and now that PC, now that PlayStation is like slowly releasing like their big titles out on PC, because they did it with Horizon Zero Dawn. They did it with God of War. Now it's gonna be I think the other one, the one with Deacon St. John. What was that one? It's like freaking zombies and bikers. Days Gone. I think that one was released already. I could be wrong, but you guys correct me if I'm wrong. And I was Spider-Man coming out. Like, I think that's a good move for Sony to bring their games out to the PC community, because I mean, there's just some players that refuse to get a PlayStation, and no matter what, no matter how many exclusives you have, they're just not gonna like play it. I mean, and I'm in that camp. There's not much for me to like reason for me to get a PlayStation. Like, if I'm just about the games. But now that it's available on PC, I'm more likely to want to play it. So I mean, no, I won't be like. So I mean, I'm not speaking for every gamer or anybody that just does PC gaming, but at least the PlayStation can at least start interesting other people to play their games, even though they're not buying their console. They can still try out a PS title, and who knows, maybe if they like it, though. I doubt it. Once you go to PC, and that's what happened to me, guys. I used to be on nothing but consoles, and then I got me a nice little gaming PC, and ever since then, I'm just like, okay, if it doesn't come out for PC, then I'm fine. They also saw we saw Stray from Annapurna. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about Stray's. You like you're basically like a little cat in some sort of like shadow. Like it looks like a futuristic shadow punk kind of world. But it's from Annapurna. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Are they developers? Are they publishers? Something like that. I know some of the games that they did. I always felt like they were kind of like, and you guys might have heard me mention it before, but they always feel like they're more like narrative driven games. They're more like interactive comic books. I mean, not all of them because I haven't played any of them. I'm just going off of what I've just seen, so I could be totally wrong, you know. But I don't know because like I said, I've played games like Oxenfree and Night in the Woods and what else like the Telltale games, and I know they're not from Annapurna, but I just get the same vibes, and it's just like I'm fine. I like my games to have some risk, to have some edge, to have some pushback. You know, I mean, this is why I prefer playing, fighting games and Souls games because you can die, you can lose progress. You might have to start back from square one, and you have to relearn and respect the game and get back in there. So, I mean, that's an aspect that I really enjoy. So, when it comes to like stories, like, I mean, if I want a good story, I'll go watch something on, you know, just on a streaming service or some sort. But as for it comes to playing games, I mean, if that will float your boat, if that's what you like, hey man, more power to you. They had the Callisto Protocol, and I remember seeing some of this from like previous. I think it was like Summer Game Fest back in 2021. I remember just seeing something, and what I've gathered, it looks like a very grotesque, bloody survivor game, horror survivor. It looks like you're in like in some sort of uh, uh, like in a prison out in a desolate moon or satellite somewhere, and you have to survive. So I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about that stuff. Like, I know I'm a fan of Resident Evil games, and I know those games could be just over the top gory, but this one just looked like, yeah, a lot of that, a lot of that. So I don't know if that's gonna like. It doesn't really pique my interest. It looks like if you're about the horror stuff, it's gonna nail it. But for me personally, like, no, I'm good. I'm good. Like Resident Evil, like, fills that void for me. So I like, I'll pass on this one. They had another one, Roller Drome. It I saw a little bit of chat during YouTube, and they're talking about this is like a budget, like a budget game. I'm like, yeah, it kind of does, like a little indie. You play as some roller derby girl, and you're shooting things. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm somewhat of a firearms enthusiast. I haven't been in years, but just lining up your sights and squeezing the trigger and getting a good shot under just comfortable conditions when you have time to relax and breathe. Getting a nice shot at 10, anywhere 6, 10, 15 yards. It's a challenge. So when I see like her just running around shooting, do like akimbo style and just bouncing off bullets, I'm like, and like, I get it, guys. It's a video game. But after a while, like, I cannot suspend my I can't suspend my disbelief because I'm just like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. And again, I know it's a video game, and my friends have called me out on that before. It's like, Rick, you get worked up about stuff. It's like sometimes, like when I'm watching a movie, like I'm watching like Doctor Strange movie. Oh, he's using magic. Okay, that kind of makes sense. He's using magic. He can get around some stuff, because it's magic. But then I see like Black Widow, and I see some stuff that they're doing there. I'm just like, you should have, like, your ribs should have been broken a long time ago, or you should have a concussion right now. And it's not like you're like a super soldier. You don't have the serum. You don't have an adamantite skeleton. You don't have super strength. You're just a really skilled human being. Your ribs should crack. And again, I know I should be like, just don't think about it, Rick. But it's just like, I don't know. It just gets to me. So when I said that roller drome, just going around shooting firearms like that, I'm just like, Okay. Okay. That's all right. It's not for me. I'm just not the target. Then we go into Eternites? Eternites? I don't know, but I just saw the trailer. The second I saw it, I was just like, okay, this is anime. This is anime AF. I'm down. At first, I thought I was like, is this like a Multi Blood like RPG? Because I'm like, maybe, but no, I don't. It's not Multi Blood. It's not from French Bread or anything. But I saw that and just like, okay, you know what? I'm a sucker for like anime games, and so I was like, this looks cool, but I have to see more of it. Now I gotta like, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be like a day one purchase for me, but it is on my radar, and I'll check it out because I don't know how you guys are, but I recently was able to find a copy of Scarlet Nexus on discount on Steam, or via GOG or Humble Bundle. It was Humble Bundle, I think, yeah. And I was like, okay, let me try Scarlet Nexus, and I'm glad I got it cheap because playing it, I was like, oh, because combat's pretty cool. Okay, nice, awesome. But then I kind of just faded away, and I took a break. And I recently, earlier this week, I came back to play the game, and I was like, this game is just not. I think I just want to finish it now, just so I could say like, okay, I finished it. And I'm glad I got it on a discount because like yeah, I like the anime games, and this one's because a Bandai Namco action one. So like because of that, I see Eternites, and I'm just like, I'm reserved now. So I'm just like, I don't know. It's not a day one buy for sure. So we'll see. I mean, maybe, but I would have to. I don't know if I told you you guys before, but when it comes to me to deciding to make a purchase on a game that's like a new genre or a new from like a new IP or something, what I like to do is if I can, like I like to ask my friends who've played it if they have any experience with it and get their thoughts with it, because your immediate circle, those are the ones that know you best, that you know best, and they could give you just an honest opinion, and you could really just sit down and talk to them about it, about a game. If that's not available, I like to go to Twitch and type in the game and just watch a streamer, whoever has it, and preferably a streamer that has like a lower view count, somewhere within 10, 20, 30, 40, like just something low, because that way if you want to ask them questions about it, you're more likely to get an answer. Because if I see like a big time streamer, I don't know why they would be playing, well, of course they would, but if I see a big time streamer playing a game and they have like 8,000 views, like you're not asking that person shit at all, unless you like ask a question while you're subscribing, or you're throwing bits and you throw a message in there or something like that. But I mean, when they have that much traffic in their chat, I mean, your text is gonna go right through it. So I like to just watch someone with low numbers, and that's not to be disparagingly of them. It's just an easier way for me for them to answer my questions. Like, hey, is there options for me to change this or is that, or how's the gameplay, or are you enjoying this, or how long are you into the game, and stuff like that. So, and it's a good way for you just to like see the game for what it is while it's playing, So that's what I like to do when it comes to games. So that's probably what I'll be doing with Eternites. Just when it comes out, maybe just eyeball it on Twitch and check it out from there. Because like right now, like I don't know, Scarlet Nexus, even though I didn't play full price for it, I'm just like, okay, just lesson learned. We'll find out. All right, guys, this is one of the big ones for me, and I don't know how hype you guys are. If you guys been listening, y'all probably know that I'm super excited for this next one, because like my first episode, I just talked about Street Fighter V for so much. So when Street Fighter 6 got announced, and remember, I think it was back during the CPT Capcom Pro Tour 2022 exhibition matches, they show like a quick at the end of the matches. They show like a quick 30-second snippet of just Luke and Ryu just squaring off. Final Fantasy VI done. That's all you saw. It had this hyper realistic graphics and everything, and okay, that's all we knew. So fast forward to today, we got more information on Street Fighter 6. So from what I gathered, what I gathered is you're still gonna have Luke, Ryu, Chun Li, and a new character named Jamie. Okay, it's gonna be in the Capcom's gonna use the RE engine, which I'm not surprised that they're doing that, and I have questions for that because I believe uh on the Street Fighter 5, and I should have researched this before I brought this up, but I believe Street Fighter 5 was using the Unreal Engine. I think it might be 4, Unreal Engine 4. And I remember hearing that that game, that engine, has some lag for gameplay. And look, I know some of y'all might be saying lag just to input, your commands and everything. Even though it's a couple of frames, it's no big deal. Like actually, it's kind of a big deal. It really is because if the engine has like if the console has already built-in lag, if your controller already has lag, if the engine already has lag, and then you're playing online already has lag, like it's gonna start adding up where these minute just little fractions of a second to execute something, if they don't go through, like, oh, I mean, you'll feel it. It's like playing underwater, guys. So I mean, I know if you guys are listening, if you do play fighting games, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. And if not, I mean, it's just something like, even though it's so minuscule that even if it's off just by half a second, I mean, you could tell. I mean, especially when there's a win or losses on the line. So with this new RE engine being implemented by Capcom, I'm very curious at how it's going to work out. At this point, I suspect, and just pure speculation on my part, I suspect that Capcom thinks it's going to be better than using the Unreal Engine. Or they just want to keep everything in-house and they don't want to license out anything. Speaking of licensing out, when Street Fighter V launched, it was exclusive to. I mean, it was on PC. It was available on PC also, but it was they. From what I can recall, and the best of my knowledge, I'm using all this lawyer talk because I don't know. I could be wrong, but when Street Fighter 4 launched, I think PlayStation Sony gave them some backing so they could have like exclusive like console rights to the game. Of course, it never got released on Xbox. At least Street Fighter V never did. Street Fighter 4 was. But Street Fighter V was never released on Xbox. So I know for at least that first year, I know they had a lot of like mashups and contracts and like overlays and working with Sony. After year 2, I some of that changed along the way. And some of you guys might be able to notice that. I mean, I was there with Street Fighter 5 since like day one. February 16, 2016. I was there. So, being in Sony State of Play for Final Fantasy, Street Fighter 6 being there in today's State of Play, I wouldn't be surprised if, I won't say Sony gave them, money for the financial backing for the game, but maybe just incentives to, and of course, Sony does own Evo. Street Fighter has always been a staple of Evo, so I wouldn't be surprised that that's a reason why they're partnered up with Capcom to help maybe not so much fund the game, but maybe just help promote it for their fighting game, their esports, their FGC event stuff. Which now that I think about it, that might be the route with Sony owning Evo and Street Fighter. There's always been a Street Fighter at Evo in some way, shape, fashion, or form. There's always a Street Fighter at Evo. So yeah, now that I think about it, that's why they're there. That's why Sony's probably backing them up. But my first impressions of the game, visually, it didn't hit a home run with me, and I admit it, guys. I was again, that's because I'm a fan of like the alpha sprites, the Third Strike sprites. Like I love that pixelated art, and it's not that. When they went to Street Fighter 4, that art style, the 3D models. Well, yeah, they're 3D models. With the ink splashes around it. I was like, okay, I didn't mind it. It was different. I was hoping it still stayed, just flat, even 2D with the pixelated art, but they didn't. And then Street Fighter 5, they kind of head in that same direction, just the massive hands and feet, and just 3D models. So in Street Fighter 6, they just have these 3D models, and they just look more lifelike. And I'm getting these vibes like you guys like. They look. If I was to put my finger on it, they look like Tekken characters in a certain way. Not the way they dress, but just the form of their bodies and the shape and everything. They look like Tekken, which I mean, I guess that could be good or bad depending how you take it. But I kind of wanted that old school look, and let's face it, it's a new day, it's a new age. They gotta make it look. You have to make it look appealing to bring people in. The way I would have wanted it is outdated and old, and it wouldn't sound. So I, even though it didn't completely blow me away with this art style that they're taking, I can respect it. It's fine, because at the end of the day, guys, and I say this a lot when like people look at like Guilty Gear or any fighting game actually, where they say like, man, it looks really pretty. The thing is, when you're actually playing the game, me personally, what I could tell you guys is I'm looking at my character, the opponent's character, and the space between them, and occasionally the peripherals like the meters and stuff like that, the health bar, the CA bar, and whatever. That's all I'm looking at. Like how pretty and graphics looks like, that is out the window. It's just that spacing. To me, it comes down to the mechanics. That's what it comes down to. So like, even though it's not visually where I want it to be, it's fine, because I know once I get my hands on it, that's where it's gonna really shine. I'm all about the gameplay. How good is the mechanics? How fun is it? That's the important part to me, guys. So even though it's not there where I want it visually, it's fine. They talked about how they're gonna have and I don't want to say this word, but excuse me, it looks like some open world aspects to it. And I don't want to say open world, because open world to me is Horizon, not Horizon, but like Horizon Forbidden, the Horizon games, Ghost of Tsushima, Elden Ring, Breath of the Wild. Those are open world games. I wouldn't consider God of War open world, but those games where you could Skyrim open world, you just go anywhere you want. This one, it feels like you can explore part of the city. I saw Luke, or I saw some hooded character do like a shoryuken on a barrel and just interact with some of the city and just walking around. So maybe it's gonna be like kind of open hub city areas. You could go around and do little like activities like parrying basketballs, or buying outfits, or leveling up, or interacting with different consoles to fight other people. I don't know. So this is just from what I saw. I mean, hopefully when Capcom gets ready to release sometime in 2023, they said that they'll give us more information. One of the biggest revelations for me was I went on I went on Twitter and I looked around, and they said they're going to have two types of controls for the game. Classic controls. So if you want to do reuse Hadouken, it's down, forward, quarter circle forward, punch button, Hadouken. Or you could just hit, like, you could hit I think it's like the direction button and the punch button, Hadouken. I'm like, I don't know how I don't know how I feel about that. Like I'm fine with some games introducing like shortcuts for moves, like how Grand Blue Fantasy Versus did, where you could use a shortcut, but you'll get like a weaker effect of the move, and it'll be on cooldown. Which, okay, that makes sense. There's a drawback, right? Or you could input it manually, and you'll get the full effect, and there'll be no cooldowns and everything. Okay, that makes sense. Risk rewards. Or in a pinch, if you have to do the shortcut to execute something, okay, cool. But there's a cost. I mean, it hasn't been released yet, so I can't judge fully on how it's gonna work out. And I kind of like the mechanic of simple inputs, but in Street Fighter being the fighting game to come out and being the fighting game forever, to have it, I mean, yeah, you want to bring in fresh blood. I mean, I know I'm saying I mean a lot, but it's just like, this could work out. It really could. It could work out. And it's not saying that you can't input it and play it regular way where you could do like, manual, like the classic controls. That's still available. But you do have the modern. And honestly, I shouldn't look at it that way. I should just look at it at a point of, look, does this let more people play the game? Yes. Does it lower the barrier of entry? Yes. There's just so many questions, guys. There's just so many questions and thoughts that I mean, I can only speculate and think about it, and it's not until it's actually in my hands and it gets received by the public and see how they take it. But and I've said this before, I'm fine with shortcut inputs, but not in every game. And I don't know if Street Fighter should get it. I mean, it looks like they are going to get it, and I'm just hoping that Capcom just finds a way. Like, I just don't want the game to be where it just becomes no one plays with the classic controls and it just becomes modern controls. Like, if there's a drawback to the modern controls, kind of like how there was with Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, is there some sort of drawback where it's maybe your Hadouken has a shorter range, or maybe it has more recovery, or doesn't have as much hits done? I mean, I just feel like there should be some sort of risk reward for that, because if it's not, then it just becomes modern Street Fighter 5, Street Fighter 6, and then like, what's the point of doing inputs ever? I mean, when you could get the exact same effect with less work. I don't know. At this point, it's just speculation, so I have to wait till it comes out. But I am excited for it. I know I've said this before. Well, I wouldn't. I'm done with Street Fighter. Like, I'm not gonna buy their stuff. But honestly, I might eat my hat on this one. I probably will get it day one. But like I've been doing with a lot of fighting games lately, where I just buy the base version, and that's it. No character passes, no battle passes, no super deluxe digital online passes with art book and audio OST. No. Or with extra premium limited edition costumes. Like, on that part, I'm totally out on. I'm Street Fighter 5 completely burned me out on that. So with 6, Street Fighter being one of my favorite franchises since I was a kid, since I first picked up a controller. Like, it'll just be the base version for me. And guys, you can quote me on this, okay? I'm going to just go get the base version, and that's it, and play the game and try it out. Oh, and they have this drive system, which have like a parry. You could do dashes. You could do V reversals. And I'll go in depth at some other time, guys, when I have more information and more time. But I mean, that was the big one for me, seeing Street Fighter 6 and getting more information in a Sony State of Play. And that's the thing. At a Sony State of Play, I really thought it would have been they were going to hold off until Evo. I didn't suspect anything for this announcement, for this State of Play. I didn't expect anything for Summer Game Fest, which is coming around next week. So, and I really thought they were going to hold anything till Evo, which was it's in August, I think. So, getting some news now, I'm glad they did. That way, I'm just kind of like, okay, they're working on it. We have a date. We have a rough timeline of somewhere between the next 12 months next year. So, sometime 2023. But yeah, man, them changing the controls, I'm curious how they're going to do it. And right now, it's just speculation on my part. And I can't, like, I just have to wait and see. I just have to wait and see and see what my peers, what my friends have to say about it. Because, I mean, those are the ones I care about, when I talk to Johnny or Dirk or Kevin or, whoever just actually plays the game, that still plays the game. Like, well, Kevin doesn't play. But, like, I would want to get their opinions and their thoughts and just build off from there. So, and it'll be available for PS4 and PS5 using the RE engine. And again, that's something I'm curious about. How will that engine function? But, I mean, I'm glad it's there. I'm glad it's there. So, they also talked about, let me see, some little indie games. Tunic looked like a little Fox Legend of Zelda. Look cute. If I'd play that, I would play it on my Switch because it just doesn't look that much demanding. Season, a letter to the future. It looked like another artsy fartsy dialogue interactive. Okay, yeah, I'm out on those. I don't play those. I'm sorry, guys. I mean, if that's your groove, man, more power to you. Or you know what? Look, if you guys listen to this and you are about those games, those interactive storybook games, tell me what's a good one. All right, and maybe I'll try it out. Tell me which one's a good one. Sell it to me. Maybe I'll try it out, and we could stream it and we could just talk about it and we could walk along and figure it out. I mean, I have heard good things about the Outer Wilds. So, Outer Wilds? Outer Worlds. Wilds. Yeah. Outer Worlds is the Obsidian one, which was fun, but damn, dude, I was playing on the PS4. That loading screen was atrocious, man. I'm telling you. So, yeah. Let me know, guys. If there's a good one to play, let me know. It might be the Outer Wilds, sorry. And then to finish the state of play, I didn't get old boy's name, but we have Final Fantasy 16 coming out for summer of 2023. Now, guys, if y'all listen to my previous podcast when I was talking about JRPGs and Western RPGs, I kind of talked about how much I love Final Fantasy 7. And how there's like no news going on about it. Mind you, Summer Game Fest is coming up, so there's probably information going to be released there. And I think also this month, I remember Square Enix saying there's going to be some anniversaries for Final Fantasy and Final Fantasy 7. So maybe this month we'll get some more information. But as for today, the state of play was just about Final Fantasy 16, which, I'm not gonna lie, guys, it looks pretty. Square Enix has always had a knack to make their games look really, really good. With they have a nice little tight little script and these little sparks flying around, and the art style. You can always tell when you're playing a Final Fantasy game. Just the design of their armor and the clothing and the way the characters look like. Yeah, this is a Final Fantasy game. And sure enough, I mean, you look at it, yeah, it's through and through Final Fantasy. There's no doubt about it. But looking at some of the action, it looked like you could, like, if you have your HP bar on top, and it looked very action-like, where, I mean, you're just entering commands like attack, and then I guess you could cycle through, I guess once your bar fills up, similar to Final Fantasy 7, I'm just speculating here, guys, similar to Final Fantasy 7R, where once your ATB bar fills up, you could do, like, pots, or, certain actions, you could cast spells or something like that. But it looked like it was just one player from what I saw, and then you could like cycle through. If you look in the top left, he kind of cycles through these icons. One looked like Odin, and one looked like Titan. So I don't know, like if you maybe like junction some of these, I won't say GFs, Guardian Forces, kind of like Final Fantasy 8. I guess you summon you junction some of these summons to you, so you could get their abilities, and I guess you could switch on the fly. I don't know. I could be totally wrong. But at certain points also, it almost looked like you could see two of the summons like fighting each other. They had an HP bar on top of each other's on top of the screen. That thin little Square Enix HP bar with those little digital numbers. And they're like they were like duking it out, slinging spells towards each other. So I don't know if that's gonna be part of the game, but it almost feels like how I mentioned to you guys earlier, ever since Final Fantasy X, they've kind of been going away from the JRPG turn-based style and going into the more, what I want to say, like the more like Western influenced action-esque part of the game, which, I mean, I know it's not meant for me. I know I'm one of the older players. I'm one of the older millennials, I'm up there. So I remember playing, the turn-based ones, the ones that were released on the freaking, SNES and PlayStation, those early day ones when it was Square, and those being turn-based. And now it feels like it's something else. And I understand you have to adapt and change, to be something different, because if you don't, you get left in the dust, So even though it doesn't appeal to me, it doesn't have that style that I wanted to see, that turn-based action, the turn-based style. Because honestly, I think Final Fantasy VII Remake had a pretty good balance of both, where you could be like, you're fighting trash, you could just spam square, or you go into what was it, you get Punisher mode or operator modes. You could just do fast, heavy strikes and and just go crazy and go ham and bounce around between your characters and just attack or once you get to like the serious battles, you actually have to like have some strategy and planning out, and using everybody's ATB bars, because if you don't, you're gonna get mopped. So just seeing how Final Fantasy 16 looked, and again, this is not the final product, and I just want to preface that with every game that I saw today, guys. Like especially Street Fighter 6, Resident Evil 4, this Final Fantasy. Like this is just unfinished stuff, so it could change at any time. And I'm just giving you from like my first impressions of it. I mean, it looks pretty, it looks cool. Final Fantasy. I mean, SquareSoft has always had a knack for that, but it's like, man, dude, I don't know. I don't know. Like I was hoping for more Final Fantasy 7 news, but again, that's probably gonna be somewhere down the pipeline at Summer Game Fest or some of the anniversary stuff. But I mean, I saw it. It doesn't look bad. The trailer looked good. Some of the gameplay looked good. Again, I'm just gonna have to just wait and see what's going on, guys. And I don't know how you guys feel about it. I mean, are y'all any Square Enix fans, Final Fantasy fans? I mean, and if so, which one was like your first one? Like I said, me, it was Final Fantasy 7. That was my first one to get into, and ever since then, I just never looked back. I mean, I played Final Fantasy 6 on the anthologies, and I was talking to my friend David about it. He said, yeah, that wasn't the best port to play it on, but it's a way to play it. So, I mean, it is what it is, guys. Hopefully, we get some more news along the way. And like I've been saying, like, just let us know that you're working on something. They don't have to be giving us a trailer every time. Just be like, look, we're working on something. Everything's as planned. Don't worry about it. Just stay tuned. That's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. Especially with 7, dude. I mean, like I said last time, like 7, just one of my favorite titles. That favorite franchises. Like, man, I want to know what's going on. Make sure nothing gets pushed back. Whether we're getting a DLC or we're getting another full-on game. And then if it is a game, like how are they gonna handle it? But again, all we can do is wait. But overall, guys, this state of play, I give it a B plus. They had some stuff that I really liked, especially from the Capcom side and Square Enix side with Resident Evil 4. Totally hyped for that one. That one is that's gonna be like a day one purchase for me, honestly, because I heard so many good things about it. I would play that one. As for whether I'll be getting it on PC or PlayStation, that still is yet to remains to be answered. We'll see. Street Fighter 6, most likely that will be a day one purchase, just the base version on PC. Just because, I mean, honestly, I prefer my fighting games on PC. I just feel like the internet connection is better. That's another thing too with Street Fighter 6. How are they gonna handle the netcode? Are they gonna like make the improvements that they've learned along the way with Final Fantasy with Street Fighter 5? Oh, they have to, right? There's no way they could go back. They can't take a step back. I mean, from Street Fighter 5, from how the way it launched, Street Fighter 6 has to be just guns blazing right at the gate, right? I mean, it has to be. They can't repeat another failure to launch like they did with Street Fighter 5. But yeah, with Resident Evil 4, Street Fighter 6, and Final Fantasy 16, like I give it a B plus. I liked what I saw. Not every game was for me, but I doubt anybody could see that and be like, yeah, all these games are for me. No, that's just they're all over the place. I mean, unless they are, you're true gamer. But anyways, guys, that was a state of play. Tell me what y'all think about it, what your thoughts, ideas, impressions were, and then maybe we could just talk about it some more, and we'll go in discussion. All the usual stuff. I hope you guys have a good night, good weekend. Take care of yourselves, and I will catch y'all next time. Peace out, guys. Love you.